Okay, I think we're ready. I can't find my headphones today, so I can't hear anything that's going on. I hope the audio is actually recording, so we'll see at the end if this is a silent stream. I don't think it is. I see that the levels are moving. But today is the lots of finishing touches day. We're finishing the body completely. There's nothing left to do but little detail work, which we can finish today, easy, no problem. Then next stream is going to be the final one for this guy. I've committed to that. 11 streams is plenty to do one model. 11 hours. I don't want to be the guy that's like, oh, we spent 15 hours on one model. We'll go to the next one. But lots of little stuff to do. Let's do it. Painting scene. Okay. Zoom in here. So first thing, tackle the big stuff as much as we can. So we'll do this sword first, because that's going to be a big focal point on the back. And we're going to make a red leather. We talked about that last time. And the jewel is going to match the blade color, which we said was going to be either a purple or a blue. So for the leather, we're going to do a base coat of a warm red. So in this case, we're going to do resplendent red, and then we're going to go over it with satchel brown and then highlight it afterwards. Actually, no, sorry, excuse me. We did that backwards a little bit. We're going to highlight it with reds first, and then go over it with the satchel brown to sort of dye the reds brown to give it that illusion of being red leather. It was not actually a red leather color that we have. Get that started. We'll start with the resplendent red. Palette cam. Don't need much. Very small details today. We're actually going to get a ton of different little paints on our palette today, because there's a bunch of little stuff to do, and it's all sort of different colors. So it's going to be lots of different paints on our palette. We don't need to do any mixing. I explained this on in a comment in Discord the other day. Somebody asked, like, how do I thin paints? I actually don't add water to them. If there's any water that I add, it's from the brush directly, but I pull like this until I get a consistency that I like, which is about here. Then make sure that the brush is nice and coated, because this is a wet palette, so the paint is absorbing water through the parchment paper. So it's continuously kind of getting moisturized. It's not losing its effectiveness. Okay. We'll start with the base coat. And this is going to look really bright against the reds that we have, but that's okay. It's going to dry darker. And we're going to have to do a couple of coats of this one. But this is pretty exciting. We get to finish this guy, and we get to take... The most exciting part is, at least for me, like when you get to do lighting with pictures in this, because it looks great painted and everything like that, but then you get to play with the base and lighting, and taking pictures of it is pretty fun. And that's going to be where you get to show off all the little detail that you know about, is when you get to take those pictures. And hopefully other people notice, or at least, they're like, that looks pretty great. And you say thank you. I think this guy turned out fantastic. A lot of techniques that I've never done before. that just worked out. By the way, this is also one of them. I just know that if we tint this brown, we're gonna get that red leather effect, but also the speed paint gives it a glossy finish, which is natural for leathers, because this paint is going to dry matte, the normal color, and then it's going to go glossy once we do that coat of the speed paint. Doing the best I can not to touch the gold that we did last time, because if I mess that up, I mean, it's not a difficult fix at all for that gold, because it's just the Retributor armor mixed with the Grimdark Shadow wash, but I don't want to have to do double work, and I would have to mix it on the palette again, which we're gonna have to do later, but we don't want to do it right now. We're busy doing this stuff. I'm glad that everybody liked, by the way, my tweet about my first mini versus the latest one. It makes me glad to see all that progress, because everyone started posting their first minis versus the one that they've worked on recently. Amazing work. Amazing progress. Better than mine. That's for sure. That mini that I showed is from pre-COVID. So it's 8 years ago now. So don't worry about, my timeline's different than yours, and some people don't take 8 years to get pretty good at model painting. So don't think that timeline is going to be your timeline, because some people are better at it than me. Some people take longer. It depends on how much time you have to practice. I can't really see, so I'm hoping I'm not hitting the cape here. I don't think I am. Okay. So we have that color's pretty good. We have a nice, oh shoot, I'm using my camera, my phone is my camera, and it keeps like bugging out for some reason. I hope that it doesn't turn off. Keeps turning on and off by itself. Hope that that's not messing anything up. Wonder why it's doing that. And for the handle, that's also going to be a red leather. So that's going to be like our, it's probably going to be darker for sure, but we can copy the same technique. What we can do for that is we can add a additional wash to make it darker, to give it a different hue than the scabbard leather. But it should be similar. Go. I think that red is a nice complement to the cape. Not too bad. Even though it's not gonna stay like that, it's the undertone you'll see. Don't touch the cape, don't touch the other bits as much as we can. Yeah, my Facecam camera, my phone camera is going on and off all the time. I don't know why. It didn't do that last time, but who knows? I'll fix it for next time. As long as it's not interrupting and turning my stream off. Okay. But I'm dropping a ton of frames. Wonder what's going on. That's okay. Somebody would have said something. All right. Sword looks pretty good. Let's highlight it and then put the wash over. So the highlight is literally just going to be an edge highlight of the sides here with the lighter red, the still warm red. And we do want it to be kind of thin, but pretty easy for this one because it's got pretty sharp corners. Let's see how we do. And just like with the gloves, don't be afraid to go a little thicker because the tint is going to wash it out pretty intensely. So if it's a little thicker, that will actually help you. So something like that. I'll do the other side. And that'll be it. We don't need to do too much. If you want to get real fancy, well, we can be a little fancier. We can give it little wear and tear. And what I mean by that is we're going to give it little hatch lines that are visible. I'll show you what I mean by that. Okay. Using the side of the brush to just trace along the edge here. There we go. Highlighted both sides. And for the hatch lines, I'm going to use that same lighter red, and we're just going to do little scratches. As thin as we can. And this time we're going to use the tip of the brush. Sort of like a needle. Okay. See what the best angle. Actually, I think this is going to be the best angle. Pulling toward me like this. There we go. Does not need to be too much. No reason to get crazy. But this will give it just a little bit more character, a little bit more texture. Okay. Something like... if we can focus up enough to see it that close. Something like that. Pretty hard to see, and we'll see if it comes out after the wash. Let's see how we did. So the wash that we're using is a speed paint, Satchel Brown. It's pretty dark, but that's on theme with everything else that we're doing. And what's good about this is that if it doesn't work out, we can still fix it. Because it's still going to be a thin enough coat to where if you really wanted to start over, you could just go over the whole thing with that first red again. If you liked how that turned out better before, that's perfectly fine. Here we go. The thing to be careful of here is not to oversaturate your brush, because you're going to be getting close to the cape on the sides. And we'll start with the sides here. Show you the way that I do it. I'm coming at it from the side. I'm allowing my brush to touch and then just swiping smoothly as I can. Paying attention to where the tip is so that I don't accidentally touch tape. Might already be able to see how kind of glossy this speed paint is. Pretty powerful. I'm actually being a little too risky right here. I'm getting the side of the brush pretty close to the tape. So, like, do what I say, not what I do situation. I may have chosen too dark of a speed paint, but that's okay. I think that we're still gonna get enough red where it looks like how I want it. That's pretty dark. We'll see how it looks when it completely dries, but it's got that red tint underneath. But it did wash out those highlights, but we can re-add them with the lighter red. May be the way to go, but we'll let that dry completely. But I think that it's got a nice hue to it. For the top one, just so that we can see what the difference might be, if we try it again, we'll do a lighter speed paint, hardened leather. That one's probably going to be a little bit more forgiving and let us see what's underneath a little better. Okay. For the top, we're still going to highlight, like, it may seem crazy, but you're still going to highlight that handle by doing little crosses in the areas where you have the raised little grip things. And I'll show you what I mean. It's pretty easy to see from where I am, but might be a little bit more difficult. I'll bring it closer to the camera after this. You don't need to hit every one. There we go. Gives it just a little bit of texture. Makes it seem like there's raised areas versus lower areas. Man, my camera is really freaking out today. I guess I just decided to turn off. Why don't we do this? Just so that there's not a weird box. There we go. No face cam for at least a portion of this today. Okay. Yeah. Don't know what's going on there, but that's okay. We're focusing on the art today, folks. We're being very artistic. So let's see. What else can we do? We're gonna do that hardened leather really quick, and then we'll move on to the next thing. We're gonna mix some gold after this one because there's some obvious things that we can take care of that are fairly big, and that's the little Aquilas on the tops of the gloves. And believe it or not, that's gonna make the whole thing look a whole lot more complete. the last little bits really tie the room together, as they say. Let's put that. Oh yeah, it's gonna be a nice different shade, and it's not quite as overpowering as the satchel leather that we had before. But I think that's gonna look good when it dries. Very nice. Next thing. We're gonna mix up our gold. It's gonna be the same gold as the armor, so it's gonna be the strong skin tone mixed with the accents make the grim dark super soldier. Exactly. He's fashionable. He's very fashionable. Big bubble. Got insane drip. Okay. I'm not organized at all. Strong skin shade. Mixing that right into the gold. Pretty heavily. Hitting it nice. And brown. There we go. Because you don't really want to do a big wash over the gloves again, because if you mess up and you kind of oversaturate it, then you're going to get into a situation where the wash gets all over the rest of the gloves that are already tinted and they're a good color as they are. Don't mess with it. If you can. Okay. Start with this one. The harder to reach one, because it's partially covered. The other key with these particular Aquilas is don't have your brush be super saturated with the paint if you can, because you want these little gaps in the wings to remain gaps, meaning that the dark areas in between the wings make it look like a bird. But I see this all the time. Some people just go over the whole thing with the gold, and then the gold seeps into the middle, and it just looks like a bird-shaped blob instead of the detail that you were looking for. So if you can, something like that. We did that by using the side of the brush, sort of dabbing like this. Not painting strokes, but dabbing it from vertical, going down, and touching like that. Very difficult to demonstrate on from this angle and from that this particular vantage point. It'd be easier horizontally, but do the other one. Same principle. Not overload the brush. I think I said it in one of the earlier streams. You want your brush to be quote unquote dry here. So pull as much paint as you're comfortable with outside of the brush until it actually starts to dry out a little bit, so that you don't oversaturate. How about I be on camera, huh? If the face cam is off, then I should probably have the model in frame. There we go. Maybe you can see kind of what I'm doing. Dabbing the side. There we are. Okay. So we've got the Aquilas on the glove. Ties the room together, ties the model together. Looks a whole lot better. With just those little Oh my God. If you, and I have. The key is if you feel it coming, don't try to be like, I'll finish it before I sneeze. No. Put down, move out of the way. I mean, like, get your hand away from the model as fast as you can. Because there's ain't no way that's going to go well. Okay. Next bit. Let's check over on the back again. Looks like we're dry on both ends, so the leather at the bottom, leather at the top, nice two-tone sword there. I think that's looking pretty good. Looking really good. We can do that little jewel on the top. And then we can do, oh, actually, somebody pointed it out. I'm glad, because I would have missed it. It's one of those things that, this is definitely one of those things where you'll get all the way to the end, and then you'll see it in the picture that you take, and you'll be like, damn, I missed that. The little leather pouch right there. Unhighlighted. We're going to fix that really quick. Oh, good. I'm glad. Yeah, I think that turned out really good. So it was better to do the lighter speed paint, but actually I think I like the two-tone, so that we have the darker for the scabbard and then the lighter handle. I think that looks pretty good. We'll leave it that way. We'll happy. What would our hero Bob Ross say? It was a happy accident. Beautiful little happy little accident. We'll assume that that's the way it was supposed to be. What did I just say we were doing? Oh, that little satchel. So a light brown, just to give it some highlights on that little satchel. And it's also got a little buckle at the front, so it's going to have a dot of silver. Which again, some people will be like, why do you need to do that? Because it's going to make it look a whole lot better. That's just my obsessive nature. Because nobody else will care, nobody else will see it, I'll see it. And that's what's going to matter to me at the very end. Because once you say, okay, I'm done, and you put the paints away for that particular model, try to keep that as a commitment. Because one, you allow yourself to move on, but two, you also allow yourself to see where you stopped and where you made mistakes, so that the next time you do a model, you learn from it. Because if you just never move forward and do the next one, you're not going to actually gain any skill, because you'll spend an obsessive amount of time working on the same guy when you could be practicing other techniques, experimenting with other colors, just like we did here. Half the progression on this one and half the fun of this one is learning new techniques and what works, what doesn't, things like that. Give yourself permission to do the next one. All right. Now the satchel is highlighted. Look at that. Now you can see it. You almost couldn't even see it before. I bet nobody did. I bet nobody like even knew that there was a satchel there. But now that there is highlights on it, your eye goes, what the hell is that? And then you see that it's a little pouch where he carries, I don't know, what would he carry in there? Like snacks? Something like that? A tiny knife? No. Little like nail clipper? That'd be funny. Now we'll do the little buckle on the front, which is just going to be, it doesn't need to be special. It's going to be a little dot of a silvery metal. And we're going to choose, how about a Vallejo gunmetal? The mass-produced little satchel, not a artisan one-of-one hyper unique satchel. Although I guess it could be. The Custodies, after all. He made it himself. Put that on there. And watch it pop. There we go. Just a little buckle. Little buck on a little satchel. Nothing fancy, but really brings that whole side together. And when you take a picture like this, with that big arm guard in the way, looking all fancy and nice, and then you see that little extra treat of a satchel, it's good for the audience. You know what I mean? We'll use this same. No, we won't. Actually, we're gonna highlight the other little pieces of metal that we've got going on back here with a slightly lighter metal. We'll try this dark aluminum. And that's going to be for the little metal bits on the back of the belt here and then at the top there. Somebody mentioned also in Discord using these Vallejo metal paints. I've had them. They're absolutely fantastic. They have fantastic coverage. I've just been kind of obsessive with the Army Painter paints recently. They're also super great. Do the little dots, which are the little studs in the leather or in the metal. We'll highlight the edges, not the whole thing, just the edge to make it look like it's glinting. Purpose of this is to make it known that that's a different object, not the same object, not to cover the whole thing in this color. There we go. Just like that. Now you realize, oh, there's some, we're going to use the word character a lot. There's some character in this belt. There's some objects that were in there that weren't there before that you didn't even see. This is the detail work. This is getting fancy stuff right here. Got one more little stud. One more little edge. Right there. And that's enough. Stop right there. Don't do any more. Because the more you do there, the more you're going to take away from this style, at least. There are some styles where you would do the whole thing, but that's not this style. We're doing a lot of eye trickery on this one. Okay. Next we can go back to the front. Let's check it out. We already did the belt buckle. Oh, we can highlight the tubing here with that same Vallejo dark aluminum, nice and shiny. And it's perfect for giving these little glint effects. So for this, we're gonna do the same light direction coming from this way. So we'll hit right here. Top of this little circlet there. The edge of right there. The edge of right there. And then the tops of tubing here. Not a lot, just a little. to make it seem like you know that that object is different. That's it. Don't do the other side. Just give it some character. That's gonna be the title. That's gonna be the title of this video. Is we're giving it character, ladies and gentlemen. We're making it look nice. We're making it look fancy. Let's see for a second. I'm gonna try something. Maybe I can get this to work. Still have my old webcam here. Just so that we have something. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I feel like giving it a try. We'll try this. Timing unit part. What? How dare you? This is the do what I feel like stream. I'm just kidding. Oh, nope, it doesn't work. That's okay. We're just gonna get back to painting. Okay. So let's see here. Satchel, sword, highlight on the belts. Let's do the little bits of the. Oh, this is a good opportunity to show you some pretty easy lighting effects in the back here. We're gonna make the back vents look hot. Let's do that. And we're gonna do that with white ink and these three guys. We're gonna do it with white ink and these three contrast paints. These are the bread and butter of quick and easy, hot looking stuff. We'll give that a try. Okay. First thing, we're gonna not fill, but we're gonna coat the back areas there with the white ink. And just like that same principle with the eyes, you can let it spill over into other areas a little bit just to give it that same effect, but don't go overboard. The main place where you'll want to have a little bit of spillover is the bottom of the vent. Okay. Couldn't even see that one from that particular angle, but there we go. It's filled. We'll do this one. Thankfully, the areas on these are pretty forgiving. Because then I'm not too worried about hitting stuff that I don't want to hit. That's why it's okay to do these last. Or close to last. You could have done these earlier, because they're not close to anything else. So you wouldn't be worried about messing them up. Okay, let that dry pretty quickly. And we'll prep our 3 stages. So the first stage you want to do is actually the lightest stage, the yellow. You can almost fill the whole thing with this yellow and then slowly do the darker ones. If you do the dark one first, you're gonna not be able to get this color. That's a mistake that I see a lot of people make. They're like, oh, I need to make it progressively from dark to light. No, opposite. You put the yellow down first, which you fill the whole thing almost, and then you progressively go darker and darker in the direction that you want. So in this case, the heat we're gonna make come from the bottom going up. So it's gonna be lighter towards the bottom and then darker going up. Give that a try. This is Bad Moon Yellow. Contrast. Not thinned or anything like that, just kind of straight from the pot. The only thing that I do, just like when anything else, is I put a little bit, I pull it on the wet palette first, just to make sure that I'm not oversaturating the brush. And we're gonna go for it. And it's okay to hit the black at the bottom, because that will also kind of give the illusion that light is coming off of it just a little bit. It's really hard to see on the black, but you can see a little bit of it. So we start with the yellow. Do that again for the other side. We go. Okay. So we've got the initial color first, yellow, and then we're going to do progressively cooler than yellow reds. So we're going to do the Imperial Fist, and we're going to go from the middle up. And you're going to go all the way up from the middle area of the thing. So we got to let this completely dry first, though, because otherwise it's going to mix. And not that mixing would be necessarily bad, but it would be difficult to keep it from spilling via surface tension, because it's so. Oh, looks like my camera decided to turn back on for no reason there. Awesome. Having all kinds of technical issues today. Yes, intentional smearing is good. But it was a black box. Let's see. Maybe I'll just balance my phone like this, and you can kind of see. Yeah, that kind of works. There we go. Okay. Anyway, so we get that's nice and dry now. We're gonna go to maybe I can even show you this way. Gonna go to the Bad Moon, or to the Imperial Fist, yellow. We're gonna go from the middle up. Pull a little bit on the wet palette. Prime haircut. Okay. And do your best, again, not to oversaturate and let it spill down into the lighter yellow so that you get a nice transition. The most powerful color is going to be the flame color at the end. You may even do 2 coats of this middle yellow in the middle, because it's pretty difficult. They're pretty close. They're not super different in tone where you will be able to notice necessarily. So we'll wait for that, and we might even do a second coat of that one. But let's see what else on the body. We can do these little bits here of the back. While we're waiting, we're going to use that same Vallejo dark metal color. We can do something like this little circlet here. Kind of looks like a button or something. And these ends of tubes, looks like. Just to, again, add a little more character to the back here. I think my paint may have separated too much because it doesn't even look like very metallic, but okay, it's fine. It'll look shiny when it dries. Take a look at that Imperial Fist. Nice and dry. We'll add another layer of that just to get that transition a little bit deeper. There we go. Now we can see that orange hue a little bit better. Yellow is always difficult. Doesn't matter kind of what shade yellow. Yellow needs a little extra attention. See if you can see here. There's a little bit of a transition there. Again, it may be something that you appreciate as the person who put it there. And then we'll add the red to the top. Once that dries, and that's going to really stand out. The red is going to be easily spotted. Okay. But we're so close. So close to the end here. I'm glad I got to show you guys how much those little details tie in the rest of the model, like the back, that sword, the little metal bits. Very important stuff. Okay, so that's dry. And this is probably going to finish the body once I do this here. We've done everything else. It's been a long journey on this guy. And next stream, we'll really make that blade fancy. We're gonna make the blade real nice, real special. Put that red, not quite horizontal. Make it like a little trapezoid. And come down on the sides just a little bit. I'll show you what I mean. It's hard to see from where you're looking. But not like a perfect, like midway, got a curve to it. See what I mean? There we go. Just a little trick. Nice and glowy in there. How about that? White ink, and then those 3 contrast paints. You can get fancier with that by doing more progressive layers instead of being as stark as you see here. And this I only did the 3. That turns out pretty good. But let's take a look at our guy. So what did we do today? We did the Aquillas on the tops of the gloves. We did our little satchel. We did the sword in the scabbard. We did the back of the belts. And we did the vents. And then we put the little metal bits on the back. The body is officially done. Last thing to do is this right here. This blade. And this is going to tie the whole shebang together. We're going to make this... What do we... And the pouch. Yep, and the pouch. We're gonna make this. I think we're gonna decide. What do we decide? Cole, you get to pick. What color is it gonna? Is it gonna be purple? Is it gonna be green? Is it gonna be blue? Actually, no, not green. Green is Necron. So anything but green. Yep, that's tomorrow. Yeah, you get. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it is pressure because whatever you pick, if it's bad, it's your fault. 100%. I'm just kidding. We can go, if you want to go with my gut, purple is what we were gonna do. Some people suggested blue because blue is like the traditional color, but this is a Shadow Keeper. He's different. Purple, dark purple, glowy is pretty on point, and it's red. Purple is a blue red, and there's a ton of red on this guy, so I think that's what we ought to go with. Purple or blue? We're going with purple. All right. Thanks again for everybody who's watching. Thank you again, Cole, for hanging out with me today. Here's the progress on our guy. I think we're looking pretty slick. Last thing, the blade. See you guys tomorrow.